Coming up in today's show.
Pulling the nutsack off fucking sheep, is it? Of course the reason was there's green diesel. If you're stuck,
Yeah.
you can put a bit of green diesel in it.
Yeah, that's right.
And like, if you have no money, you're gonna fucking put green diesel in it for not.
Yeah.
And like, I'm not saying, but I think bullying should be brought back a bit.
Yeah.
Like, people need to get tougher.
Yeah.
Like, every person that you know that ever does well, and every person that you know that becomes successful,
Yeah.
you know, none of them are trust fund kids.
No. It's the middle of a storm, mate. If you don't pay someone in 15 fucking minutes, will. And I was like, what a prick. But I told
But hey,
him.
there's an awful lot of young people not working. And nowadays, if you can hold a fucking brush,
Yeah.
you'll make
7
€700 or €800 an hour.
17 an hour, yeah.
I am what happens when you try to carve God out of the wood of your hunger.
It's like, but a lot of the Americans that went for Trump would have said, you know, if you're going to make an omelette, you have to break eggs. What they're really doing is they've came into the kitchen, drop kicked the chef in the balls, took a shit on the.
Not all superheroes wears capes. Some wear wellies. Wellies.
The water of
Head to
champions.
head. Rightio, I'll kick to you now.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. I have been decked out in the finest merchandise by the one, the only,
Massey Ferguson.
Mr. David Cuddy. Wow!
Look, there's whiskey. It's all drank. He drank a bit of it. Drank it all.
Yeah, this is Sligo hospitality.
I'm on the other
we have
end
drank the
of
whiskey.
the table in a Cowshed podcast room.
Yeah,
It's quite cool.
do you like it?
I was a little bit worried when I walked in and seeing axes and slash hooks.
You mightn't get out.
You thought you were going to a wedding?
Like, it genuinely does look like it kind of looks like a torture room more so than a pleasure room.
Well, you know, if the podcast goes badly, we could always.
What's this? A little
adapt.
snare for a rabbit?
Which one? No, that's a rat trap.
That's a rat trap.
Yeah, that's the old style rat trap. So it is.
Hey, jeez, I tell you, the rats didn't fuck around back then, did they? Oh, give me! I know what that joke's for. Pulling the nutsack off fucking sheep, is it? It is, boys. That's the job. Jeez, isn't it rough? Wouldn't like to be a little animal.
No. But sure, when they're small, do you know?
Well, when you were small, if daddy or mommy came at you with that, would you be happy? Would you say, look, he's small? I remember Clark, when when he was young, he had these fits. When he gets sick, his temperature would go up, and he was having these little epileptic fits. We were fierce worried about him.
Yeah.
And we took him into the hospital, and he was getting all these tests done. And I remember pinning him down to try and get bloods and stuff.
Yeah.
And I said, oh, jeez, this is torture. Yeah. I don't know whether to slap this nurse or just run out with him or...
Dad had a similar thing with my sister years ago, and Dad was such a nice man. He was such a nice man. And she tried a couple times.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget, he just kind of stopped her and went, once more.
That was it.
That was it. And
do you find it hard to get blood?
No.
If you're going to get blood, are you vascular?
I am, yeah. They just basically have to put the thingamabob on and that's it.
The last time I went
and
in...
give blood. Give blood.
Oh, yeah, give blood. Well, the last time, unless you've AIDS.
Yeah, don't give blood then.
The last time that I went in to get blood...
frown upon us.
like wanking on an airplane. The last time I went in to get blood, she fucking... she must have pricked me about 3 or 4 times and couldn't get blood. I had very little veins in my hand.
None?
No, but very bad. Very bad.
And can they not go up higher?
No, it took him 2 or 3 turns. I says, if you pull out the big lad now, you get in there. Although I don't think I'd like to have that pricked.
No, I was told by one of the attendants that I was a heroin addict's dream.
Okay.
Yeah, apparently I have.
I suppose if I got the belt out.
Yes.
Yeah. You have a fine spot here.
Do you like it?
It's cool.
I have to thank you, David, because Jesus, what you done for me just by putting me on your podcast. Now we have a podcast of our own, and it's working out, thank God, yeah. And he's very optimistic. He has also furnished me with a wallet.
Yeah, 12 cards now.
12 cards.
So you can put your diesel cards and the whole lot in it. But no, it's a fine spot.
You like it?
Yeah. But you obviously do more than podcasts up here because you have outside toilets and you have...
yeah.
I have one question to ask you.
Yes.
I walk in.
Yes.
There's about 5 or 6 safes in the yard.
Yes, that's right, yeah.
I won't say it looks suspicious.
No. I collect bank safes.
And that's not just a phrase that we're using. They're genuine bank safes just sitting in the yard.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. It's an interesting point. Do you know? Herself does try to explain it to her friends when they call over and that, and they're all. Then again, they don't go too far with the confusion. It's kind of like, oh, okay.
So do you like doing the podcast?
I love it.
Yeah.
It's really interesting. Some of the evenings after work and that, do you know, it's a little bit hard because like Darren is doing the full tech setup.
Darren, take a wide shot there because I think everyone should see your hair.
Oh, definitely.
That's
We're coming on.
That's a fantastic head of hair, man.
see the sticker here? I said
One sec, your television is brainwashing you.
Yeah.
Hey, isn't it a great time to watch the death of legacy media and sad at the same time?
Yeah. One of the things that I realised with it is me parents still watch it, and sometimes they say, "Did you see such a thing?" And I'm like, "No, I didn't." And yeah, that's sad because you have nothing in common to kind of talk about media-wise.
Yeah, and nobody knows what they're supposed to be.
But now they've both got smartphones, and they kind of watch this, and they're able to say to you, "Oh, such a fellow was interested in that." But it's the whole RTE thing. I don't watch it. So if such a fellow was on the Late Later, that they're like, "Oh, did you see it?" No, I didn't.
The poor old Late Show. It's terrible, isn't it?
Well, as a show, yeah, it is.
It's so bad. It's so bad. It's just RTE staff and just the normal run of people the whole time, and they try and keep it as safe as possible.
Yeah, but it was class. I have a mate from Armagh, and he says it's a typical Fine Gael act. He says, "Bring in the Northerner when something is dying."
Yeah,
that's what they've done with Keelty.
It was so
but a northern accent there.
It was so embarrassing watching Patrick Keelty die on air with Pierce Morgan.
That was class.
It was exactly what's wrong with legacy media, and it was a perfect moment where they got caught out.
Yeah,
where he was trying to play to the public, play to that narrative, and then one simple question. What did I say that you don't agree with?
Yeah, but he didn't know.
And he couldn't say that. So it started off with, I disagree with everything that you're saying. And I actually think you're wrong. And he goes, that's interesting. What do you actually think that I said that's wrong?
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah.
That's shocking.
That's happening all over the world. Did you see he's the contender for the Canadian Prime Minister?
He's brilliant.
And he was eating
the apple. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's worth watching.
What's his name?
Polivier or something like that.
Yeah, he's cool.
Yeah.
But do you know what's frustrating? Is when you say you like people like that. Like I done a question thing last week. I try and do one a week, and I done a question expecting. I'd like to do one of them because it gives me an idea of where my followers are and what they're actually wondering, and because you can tell. You can get hundreds and hundreds, but you can get 20 the same, and you know where everyone's thinking. And I couldn't believe the amount of people were there. They were, oh. What do you think is going on in America now with Musk? And you fucking like Musk. And look what he's at over there. I'm there. Why are you worrying about Musk? We're over here.
Yeah.
And I'd go in and I'd say, is this person in Ireland and in America? And they'd be in Ireland. And I'm there, worry about here first. How about that?
But what don't they like that he's doing?
They just don't like a private individual that has that much money and power. They find it terrifying.
Yeah, I don't know.
No, that's it. People just like the same. They don't like things to change. And the last 10 years, this thing has been pushed in, this woke fucking shite.
Yeah.
And now when it's been just turned around a little bit, and it's happening so fast.
Yeah.
Like it's turning just as fast. And they're just trying to frighten everyone about it.
Yeah.
Like he's just trying to save a bit of money. And they're saying that a private individual has no right to go into government bodies and try and save money or that because he's not elected. But we don't elect our taxman.
No.
We elect politicians and they appoint the taxman and they appoint bodies to save money or do a job. Yeah. So you're supposed to, in a working democracy, you're supposed to hire someone that's supposed to appoint people that are professionals to do a job properly.
Yeah. But it's like this self-assessment thing. Do you know? If you're a business and you need an audit, basically what the people over in America are saying, well, they should audit themselves. Because they're really nice people, and I'm sure they're honest. I'm sure it'll work. And all of a sudden, it turns out that US aid, which USA basically started off as dropping pallets full of grain. I shouldn't be laughing, but this is the truth. I dropping pallets full of grain to Africa. And when you were allowed to be a comedy act, there was an American comedian who said, they're actually killing more than they save because there's no parachutes on them.
Dropping them on him.
That was back in the 80s when you could be funny, but not anymore. But basically, it morphed into this entire other agency. So now have you seen Iraq's Sesame Street?
No.
Oh, God, you need to watch that.
What is that about?
It's Sesame Street set up.
The government were paying for that.
Yes, in Iraq. But I mean, David, you need to see it. It's like you sent out a fella from the 90s with a camcorder and 2 puppets. And it's just...
And it's probably costing 8.6 million.
It costs millions. But it's just these poor Iraqi children who, their country is under absolute attack. And the Americans go, you know what they need? Puppets. That'll sort it right out.
Shocking. It's actually demoralising, though, when you think about it.
But you see, it's kickbacks. And Trump, in fairness to him, the other day said it. He says it's blatantly kickbacks. That's why the Democrats are so up in arms, and it is.
I think it's down to the media, though. Again, it's like he's only in 23 or 4 days.
Yeah.
Like, sit back. If he makes a shite of it, yeah, you were right. If he doesn't, and he makes the changes that actually help, then see then. Yeah. No one can sit back and go, right, this is what we have as a nation have chosen.
Yeah.
Let's just deal with it now. It's like the speed limit's coming in here. You can complain all you want, but they're in, and let's just sit back and see, do they save lives?
No, I don't think.
No, they won't. But at least see. That's all we can do.
Yeah.
If someone brings in something and the end game is people are not going to die, it's very hard to go,
yeah,
no way. Let's not chance that, because if it's going to save lives, you'll chance anything.
Well, it's like, but a lot of the Americans that went for Trump would have said, if you're going to make an omelette, you have to break eggs. What they're really doing is they've came into the kitchen, drop kicked the chef in the balls, took a shit on the floor, and says, "Now we're going to break some eggs."
I know, but if they're like economically, like they were going to go broke.
Oh yeah.
So it is a serious situation for him if they've to try and save money, and if you're like, he has to make waves or he's fucked. He has to cause so much fucking stress on people. You have to say at the end of it, oh, well, this actually did work. Yeah. This pain was worth it at the end.
But isn't it interesting how they're basically admitting, listen, this is really bad and we have to act now. And then all the smaller Western countries are just continuing on as if, things are going to work out. Like Germany at the moment has airfields full of new unsold cars that there are absolutely no buyers for.
Well, I can tell you,
they're just kind of going,
the price of cars now.
Have you seen many new ones?
Yeah, I have.
Really?
Yeah, I have. And if you go try and buy something, because I went last week pricing a few yokes, and I'm telling you, you couldn't buy any.
What, price of everything? Or that?
It's a car salesman's dream for the last year and a half. It's a fucking dream. And the car industry now in Ireland and England is just, it's never been in such a situation. Because you have this supply that people are going to buy. People are just buying, people are spending. Like, cars have went up 40%. But what's happening is people are buying the cars, but the car garages can't fix them. They can't look after them. They don't have the mechanics. Whether they just can't keep them or there's no young lads working. They're too complicated to send people off to train how to work them. So, there's no aftercare on any cars. So, it's the equivalent. Motors now, motor cars and vehicles and tractors and everything. This is what it's like. It's like building fucking houses with no infrastructure around them.
Yeah.
It's like no roads, no schools, no anything, but the houses are everywhere.
Yeah.
So, if you go buy your car now, buying a car is a horrible experience now.
Yeah.
Like, I bought that Raptor.
It's class.
Yeah, grand, right? But you'd imagine people that suck your dick.
Yeah.
No, they don't give a fuck. And then when you have a bought, no one wants to service it, no one wants to look after it, no one can look after it. And if you look at all the people buying crafters, and I know 3 or 4 people that are buying brand new crafters, brand new Mercs. Now, these are top of the range, these are the high end stuff.
Yeah.
Engine could go, something could go wrong with a gearbox, and that's fine, things go wrong. You bring it up to the garage, and they're there like, well, we don't have the parts, and we mightn't be able to fix it for 2 months, and we can't give you a van. So you're spending your 50, 60 grand.
How do you like those apples?
But that's how it is. Like, I wanted to get my Jeep serviced. I brought it in. It took me a month and a half to get a service. I brought it in, and they couldn't update it, and I have a big blank screen. Nothing's working on it, and they told me that the software wouldn't work. And then when I had to get it dropped in again, they couldn't give me a van, and it's the 28th this month before they can do it.
Hasn't customer service though across the board?
It's gone because there's just they don't need to, because everyone just needs stuff now, because that's the way we all are.
Yeah,
every one of us, like we just buy into it. I'm one of them fucking eagles myself.
I had an experience, during the storm or that. And it wasn't for me, it was for an old guy up the road. And I went into this hardware, and there was one of them camping stoves or that. And I thought, I'll get that from him. Went up to the counter, then I was kind of like, this is a bit expensive compared to what it used to be or that. And I got to the counter, and I kind of went to Iran, would you do anything on it? It seems relatively expensive.
Do you barter at counters?
Yeah.
Even now?
Yeah.
Go into the Spar in the morning and you'll barter for your coffee.
No, not for that. but a drill or something like that, yeah, I'd ask. And I don't go to places that won't let you do it. I'm kind of like, that's why me and Screwfix doesn't go along, because Screwfix just kind of goes...
Do you buy online?
Huh?
Do you buy online?
No. Never. Herself does, but I won't. But anyways, I got up to the counter with this camping stove, and your man kind of goes, listen, it's the middle of a storm, mate. If you don't pay someone in 15 fucking minutes, will. And I was like, what a prick. But I told him the truth. Like.
That's supply and demand.
Yeah, that's it, yeah.
You don't mind that, but you'd imagine if you were head of Ford Europe or BMW Europe, and your garages are finding it hard to keep up with the work that they have to do, and they can't get mechanics and stuff, that you'd say, geez, maybe we should do something here, or we have a problem.
Yeah.
But that's not the way it is. And cars are made, and vehicles are made, they're so complicated now, and they're not meant to last.
No.
And I'd be amazed that, like, years
built-in
ago...
obsolescence, yeah.
Years ago... You're around the same age as me, aren't you?
Yeah, 32.
Oh, no, I'm way older than you.
Are you?
Yeah, I'm 45.
I've had a rough round, David. So
that
was a hard accusation to get.
Years ago, like, diesel was the only... If you worked in farming, or if you worked in forestry, like, diesel was the most frugal thing you could buy.
Yeah.
You can no one have a petrol. So why would you have a petrol when, of course, the reason was there's green diesel. If you're stuck, you can put a bit of green diesel in it.
Yeah, that's right.
And, like, if you have no money, you're going to fucking put green diesel in it.
Mm-hmm.
And petrol was kind of demonized. Petrol was like for rich people or people that done no mileage.
Yeah.
And in the space of, would it be 8 or 9 years?
Yeah.
They've turned it around. Like, talk about how good media and indoctrination to an idea is.
Yeah.
Electric cars are the way to go. Yeah. Did you hear Eamon Ryan, the big fucking dog shite, the other day saying, people in the country, if you had an electric car and a storm happens, you could run your house from the car for 2 days. Did you hear that fucking donkey?
I hate him. Well, I
don't hate him. I just think he's a fucking idiot.
I do.
But to be able to come out and say that, people in the country should have an electric car and they can run their house off the car.
Yeah. Someone said it on our local radio, and I thought it was class because there was a text in after. I basically said, listen, I sent in a voice note, and everyone was losing their minds. They were losing their minds.
Did they play it out on the radio?
Oh, yeah.
Cool.
Rightfully so. They were losing their minds.
Have you a connection in the radio that you can get that?
They put me on because they hate me. And usually what happens is they get you on, I lose the plot, and then they put it up online, and they're just like, local man loses mind on it. It gets a bit of attention for it. But anyways, I sent in this voice note, and like all morning it was, the fucking government there didn't do this, they didn't do that. And I just sent in, I went, how are you all doing? As you've seen this evening, I have solid fuel stove, big diesel generator, gas cooker, doing fine. Didn't go with the green thing, doing fine. So they says, let's get him on. And I basically said what happened. And I had gone round on a ball of older people just to see if they were all right or that. And your man goes to me, this is a result of the climate change or that. And I went, fair enough. I says, you think it's a result of it. I don't. But all these other people were telling us for the last 10 years there's going to be really, really big storms. And I says, why is it me who seems to be the only one who prepared for it at all. The guy that you all go, he's a climate change denier. I didn't deny it. I was like, well, it's either going to happen naturally or they're going to make it happen. But either fucking way, it's going to happen. So you may as well get ready for it. But some shithouse texts in and goes, no, the savings you make for air to water, that's the ways to go. But it was brilliant because someone else rang in and said, yeah, I'm saving loads of money. I'm froze to death for the last 20 days. So I have no bill to pay because I have absolutely no electricity. Like,
but I don't agree with the air to water thing. I spent 2 years trying to get planning so as I could put in a fire in that.
Yeah, because you work in forestry.
There's no problem with air to water, but I think people should be given the choice. The problem is when you go to get planning and they're telling you have to get air to water. That's the issue. I think everyone should be allowed to get whatever they want. If you're telling people, it's such an eye opener getting planning.
Yeah,
you think you owned land. And you have to get permission every step of the way of what you do with the land, what you put on the land. Yeah. So you think you live in a free country, well, try and build something, or try and start a business, or try and run a business.
Well, I had a plan and compliance one out here. Basically what happened is someone from down Kerry rented the place to have a festival. And I have an open doors policy. I'm kind of like, well, if you need a field, you need a field. This is how much the field costs. And anyway, she came up and it had turned out she must have went round on the libraries giving out about the books, these funny books.
Yeah.
So she was target number one for the lefty mob. And the lefty mob contacted me and kind of went, do you know who this woman is? And I went, no. And then they go, well, let me tell you something. And they start listing out all these things that she done. And I went, yeah, you haven't said anything here that I wouldn't be, for. Huh. We'll see about you. And I went, right, fair enough. So they reported me for having a campsite without planning permission.
Do you need planning for a campsite?
See, this is what happened. I didn't have a campsite. I just literally opened the gates and said, if you feel like paying me to camp there, you can. But the only structure that I had made was a stage. And it was, you're not allowed to make a stage. So I went through the Sligo County Council planning thing, and it turns out that you can build a hay shelter, and there was a footprint in the whole lot. And I was like, so I threw 2 bales of hay at the back of the stage, and your man came out, and he goes, I heard you had a stage. And I went, no, a hay shelter. He goes, all right, yeah. I says, yeah, I'll go down and see it. And there was the 2 bales of hay, and he just took a picture and went, see you in Tubber Friday night for a pint, James. That's no bother at all.
And do these guys just arrive out? Did they have to get permission to...
He was awful embarrassed because he didn't want being here at all. He's a lovely man. Do you know what I mean? He was just sent out by the council. What had happened was one of the gay mafia had told Sligo County Council, this right-wing figurehead is running, festivals. And he has no planning for his campsite. So they had to do something.
This is when you were running for...
This was after it, was it? No, before. Before, yeah.
What did you learn most? What was the most strangest thing you learned when you were running for politics?
I think...
What did you not expect? Because you must have expected a lot.
I didn't really expect... I kind of wanted to point... I think what I learned is...
You didn't expect the result.
Would you?
The result of, you were kind of saying, well, look, they obviously follow me, but they don't...
Oh, no, but I didn't expect to be elected, but I thought there'd be... The kind of amount following me is based all over the country. So I learned that. I basically learned there's a lot of people around the country who like you, but not around you. Do you know? So there's like 600 people around you who think you're good enough to vote for. Do you know? And then it was 1,600 in the general one. I think what I learned, a big thing I learned is there's a huge amount of people who think the government should solve everything for them. Like, I had people contacting me about a council house with a creaky door. I was like, what? And, it's creaking the last 3 months, and I've got on to the council and that, and I just went, well, buy a fucking can of oil, you daft bastard, you. Do you know? How could you write a letter or an email because your fucking door is squeaking?
But it's like you said, like, people would follow you from around the country, but it's the locals that have to elect you, and they're only going to elect you because of parish pump politics.
Yeah,
what have you done for me lately? Like Janet Jackson said.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And my biggest thing is locally, the only thing I've really done is gone to meetings and fucked the head of politicians, That's
what was the most satisfying fucking the head off a politician that you had?
The best one ever was on the local radio debate, and they were on about problems.
Who was on it with you?
All the candidates, every one of the candidates, and they were basically putting this issue, that issue, and that, and then your man done this round table thing, and
are you phoning in or just are
no,
you there?
you're all sitting around the table
together.
Yeah, and he says, "What's the biggest problem with Sligo County Council?" And then we'll say elected guy over here kind of goes, "Oh well, it's difficult at times to get things done, and we need to improve that." And then it will be another kind of fucking politician's answer, and then I just go, "Yeah, it's the amount of money that goes missing. There's quite clearly people taking money." Pure silence. And then it went round, and your man, the presenter, was even stunned that I had said it, because I had basically accused all of them of stealing money. And nobody said, "That's an outrage. How could you accuse?" No one. Absolutely.
So how did the conversation go then? What, did you just change the subject?
Yeah, moved on. Yeah, that was it. Yeah.
And are you allowed to record them?
Yeah, it's up. Anyone can listen to it. I said it. I said the biggest problem you have.
It's an official election debate.
Yeah.
That's cool.
But it's like accusing 14 people who are all around you.
And when that debate is over, do they sit up and the cameras go off and are they chatting away to you?
Yeah.
No bother.
They're not going to invite you to Christmas dinner or anything like that, but they're all kind of like, best of luck and all this. And the Fine Gael and Fianna Fáil ones are shaking their hand knowing you have to fucking hope.
No politician had the boss go, "Watch your fucking back, Conway."
No. That's fair, no.
So there's no badasses out there.
No one has vocalised it, so they haven't. I'm sure there's plenty of people who'd love the idea if I fell off a cliff someday, they'd be very happy about that.
But then what did happen is they accused you of not putting in your...
Oh, yeah, SIPO, Standards in Public Office accused me of not furnishing them with me finances or that, yeah.
That's their game.
Yeah. But you see, what had happened was I gave in my statement, and I also gave in a thing about the planting in Leitrim, because which has all came through since, is that basically saying the electric is going to go, this, and it's all former civil servants and that who are buying up land in Leitrim, and they're quite clearly going to go mining underneath it. And all this shit has came through. And I put in a rake other files, like there's a local parish to here where there's fucking hundreds of thousands missing. Just missing. Projects that don't exist.
Fuck.
Yeah. Yeah, it was bad. Really bad.
What are they?
Huh?
Can you give us any idea what
it's anyone out there you can look.
Who has the money?
Oh, well, sure, it's quite clear.
It's on your TikTok, dude.
Yeah. Is it?
Didn't you put up the whole thing on TikTok?
Oh, yeah, I sent it emails to everyone. Yeah. But it's so blatantly obvious.
What did you learn? If you were to do it again, I'm not saying you would.
Yeah.
But if you were to do it again, what would you have done differently?
I think you need to get elected to affect any change. And the way to get elected is not to come in like a bull in a china shop. The way to get elected is to kind of plumose people and be just kind of like, let's all come together. Let's move forward for a better Ireland and all that.
But what happened in the
just
US?
They're meaningless shit.
But look what happened in the US.
Yeah.
It was like I think the people had reached a point where they go, "I just don't believe these anymore."
Yeah.
And they were willing to take the bull in the china shop.
Yeah.
I just think in Ireland, people are just a little bit blind to it, because things seem so good.
In Ireland, it's a massive difference between Ireland and the US. You're not seeing the blatant amount of problems that they were seeing. So the immigration thing in Ireland is, an iPass centre popping up or that. What you were seeing in America was literally videos every day.
I think it's a little bit different now.
Yeah.
There's more than iPass centres now.
Yeah.
Any town now.
Oh, yeah.
That empty house has 10 people in
Yeah.
it. You can see it on the street. I was driving through Mount Rad this morning, and the weirdest thing I ever see. It was 10 o'clock in the morning. I couldn't believe my eyes. There was a lad.
On a scooter, I bet you.
No. He had a trolley with a heap of drums, and he was playing the drums.
Yeah.
Going across the street.
Okay.
Just weird. Not something that you see in Mount Rad on a fucking Thursday morning.
You see, this is the trouble. This is going to happen so quickly.
I have my mother and every other old woman around Cameras used to do their shopping a lot in Rossgray.
Okay.
None of them will go to Rossgray anymore.
Oh, because of
They're just terrified.
Yeah.
And that's an awful shame. And it's an awful shame that if you say that, you're racist.
Yeah.
Like, we can't...
What are they exactly terrified of, though?
The
presence.
Just all these males.
The presence, yeah.
Thousands of
and
them.
they're just hanging around and they're intimidated by him and they could be asking for money, and it's just... All women just don't like that. Like.
Yeah. Well, you see, there's the whole bleeding heart.
I don't fucking like it.
No. There's the whole bleeding heart lefty thing in Ireland that thinks it's really nice to trap a fully grown man in a hotel and give him 30 quid a week. And yeah, he's not going to give you any trouble with that. If you went over to London and you were put into a bedsit and told, there's £30.
You'd be the very same.
You can't earn any more.
Yeah.
You'd be below outside the pub.
Yeah,
saying,
it's not...
"Here,
It's
3-card trick, lads. There it is.
That's what amazes me about it. It's like the government aren't just seeing it. They're thinking that it's a racial issue. It's a psychological issue.
Of course it is.
If you put men in large groups from a different culture in a place where they do not belong without any planning, you're going to have issues.
Of course you are. And then there's the other side of it too, which is the whole tribal aspect of it. And nobody talks about this. Is, you know, you have divisions within Islam. You have divisions within North Africa. So, like, Algerians fucking hate Libyans. Do you know what I mean? Do you think anyone here is going, okay, well, tell us a little bit about your culture. Do you know, who can we put you with? We can't put you with this guy. No, it's not. Here, listen, we're getting paid for you. Get into that fucking room, 27. You're in room 27. There's 4E in it. Best of luck.
And fuck up.
Yeah. And then everyone gets pissed off because these fellas leave the place to go walking around the town. Oh, you'd leave it to go walking around the town. How many times have you been away working and we'll say you go to like a B&B or something and you know the vibe.
Yeah.
There's B&Bs where you can kick up your 2 feet and watch the telly, and there's B&Bs where you're like, I can really only go to bed here.
Yeah.
And I'll get up in the morning. And so what you end up doing is going for a drive, maybe going to the pub. You stay away for the evening. Do you know?
Yeah.
There is places like that.
Yeah.
I can't see how anyone would be content living in one of them spots.
I think things are going to get rough.
Yeah.
And I think things have to get rough before they get better.
Yeah.
Because the man on the street has to see where the issues are before they say, oh, yeah, look, the vibe on the ground is different than what has been told.
There was a People Before Profit woman running for the council, and she was totally in favour, you know. And I just went, how many have you taken in? She goes, what? How many have you taken in? That's not what this is about. And I went, what fucking is? If you want everyone else to do it, how many have you taken in? I don't get it. And I'm like, yeah, you don't. But you would quite contently call me a racist if I didn't want them living across the street from me.
Yeah.
You'd say, he's a racist. But you're not going to offer up one of your rooms and let them in. Do you know?
It's just weird. Like Garrett said it on, I think it was it was a Patreon of mine or a podcast. And he was like, if you think about it in a real basic level, it's like you have your own kids.
Yeah.
Right? And you're supposed to look after these 4 kids. They're your responsibility.
Yeah.
And then instead of looking after them, you're letting them be destitute.
Yeah.
And you're looking after the next door neighbour's kids.
Yeah.
You'd be considered a very bad father.
Yeah.
But technically that's what we do.
Yeah.
Like, we're looking after all these people, which is, it's money. That's all money. Like, it's all driven by fucking profit.
Of course it is.
But we're not looking after our own.
Yeah.
That's where it's frustrating. And you say...
But I don't understand how people cannot see through it. I'm Mr. Government, right? Give me your tax so I can give it to my mate who'll throw me a few pound back and we'll pretend that we're looking after the foreigners. How does that sound to you? That is exactly what's going on. All of these contractors are politically connected.
And also, if you have a hotel or a building or something that, and you're struggling, you're buried in debt, right? And you have that option, you're going to take it.
Yeah.
You know, you're going to take it because you're, as humans, a flaw in our psychology is we can't really see further than our own. Do you know, our own immediate family and stuff.
Yeah.
So, like, it's the government's job to make sure that those loopholes aren't there and that people...
But it's gone even further than that. What you have at the moment is you're struggling with the hotel, and what happens is Mr. Government Friendly Man goes to the hotel owner and says, you're struggling. There's a pack of money. But what do you want to do with the hotel? Never you fucking mind. So you have a situation now where you have dickheads who own 20, 30 hotels. Do you get me? It's not like Johnny who had the hotel and said, you know, I love my community or that, but I'm really badly off, guys. You know, I'm going to do this. Johnny, who was badly off, was approached and said, listen, that's your debt cleared. Now you clear off as well. So you have like single entities who have multiple cover companies.
I'm probably a little bit out of touch because I don't listen to
It's
an awful
worth
lot of
looking
news.
into.
But how many people extra refugees have we taken in? Like how
Nobody
many
knows.
foreign?
Nobody knows.
Is there any number?
No, nobody knows. It's probably into the maybe 500,000 mark.
What do you think is going to be the outcome of it in the next few years?
You ever been to London?
I have.
There, have a look at it. Dublin is fucked. Cork is fucked. Galway's fucked. Then it'll spread out to the towns and villages. You will probably be able to retain the rural areas because I don't know what it is, but if you go to the rural parts of England, they're still predominantly native English. And that's something that the government really doesn't like. They've never been able to diversify rural England. So the little English village is still a thing. The farms are still a thing. Towns isn't. Cities isn't. That's what'll happen. It's so fucking clear. And this is the same roadmap in Germany, Sweden. There's the thing. Sweden has an average of 1 to 2 bombs per day.
Does it?
Per day.
Going on?
Bombs. Sweden is the capital of Europe for bombing.
Couldn't be.
I'm fucking telling you, you can look it up. 100%. Sweden is the bombing capital of Europe. Did you hear about it?
No.
No. There's parts of Malmo in Sweden, whereas if you enter...
Yes, I often went out to Malmo. I had many a drink there.
Yeah, well, there's parts of Malmo in Sweden. If you wander into the wrong area now, you will hear 12 steps behind you, Allah Akbar, and then your head will be looking back at your own air because your head will be cut off.
Jeez,
It's that bad.
I lived in Sweden.
Yeah, it's class.
And it was just a lovely country.
Yeah. Lovely place, and in the summertime down at the beach and 6 foot tall blondies walking around, nothing wrong with them.
They had just such a lovely culture because they didn't work that hard.
Yeah.
They wouldn't be the most hard-working people in the world.
No.
And there was lakes everywhere. So during the summer, everyone would be out at the lakes.
But you've identified it, right? Sweden had a very good social net. A very good social net. So what happened was Mr. Lazy Swede figured out, I don't really need to work. I can kind of pull back a little bit. I won't do the McDonald's job. I won't do this job. So then Sweden entered the problem where there was very little people to do the menial task labor. So they had to import it, right? So many Irish fellas shuttering and all them jobs beyond Sweden. There's a reason for that. It's because the Swede says, we're not working construction, you know? Then they opened up the whole African element and says, oh yeah, sure, we need nursing home workers, this one, that and the other. But instead of that, what they got were people who went, I don't need to work either. I can hang around Malmo and walk around for the day.
But what was the driving force in Sweden? They're not part of the EU.
No, the driving force was they were a shortage of labour, a shortage of unskilled labour. So in Sweden, you had a situation where you had a very well-off upper echelon, and then the kind of middle class, and then the social class. But the working class kind of went, no, I don't need to do much anymore. Do you know? So they says, we're going to import workers. It just didn't work. Germany is the same thing, Angela Merkel. Did you ever see them welcoming them at...
I did.
welcoming them
and I always thought it was just...
with teddy bear.
It's just demoralising. It just depresses me.
I heard it was the best statement ever. It was on about the Germans after World War II. And when this wave of immigration started, the Germans were excited at the idea of someone breaking into the country. Well, hey, people are coming here. Everything's forgiven. And now this is what happens. Because they don't care. This is the funny thing that... Did you see the video of the fella in Donegal in the post office?
No.
Screaming it was pension day. So Nigeria, he's a black lad. And he has his shirt on. Well, the man quite clearly has mental health difficulties or something, you know. And he is basically screaming at the postmistress, where is my money? Right? screaming at her. And you see, the point about it is, then the community came together after they had voted back in Fine Gael and Fianna Fáil and Sinn Féin, all of them who were in favour of this, and they had a march down the town. No more than Balahadreen. What is it? The candlelit vigil. Light a candle and stand in the square. And this will get better, right? Won't.
But why is there so many useless people though? Like if I can go into town and I will see an awful lot of young fucking Irish lads.
Yeah.
And I'm fair, I don't know what's going on. Like useless. There's an awful lot of young people not working. And nowadays, if you can hold a fucking brush,
yeah,
you'll make €700 or €800 an hour.
17 an hour, yeah.
So like
the brush, yeah.
Why is there so many young lads that are happy to sit at home, pull themselves asunder,
yeah,
when there's work out there?
I don't know. And the weird thing about it is we've started this, this skills exchange thing, right? This nice idea. You throw out this invite and you say, if you're interested in learning these things. First day, I think there was one.
I think a lot of it, though, is self-confidence and social anxiety.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
One
why?
lad. I don't.
Why is there so many?
Behind them not going out to work.
Yeah.
And that's what I think it is. I think they have really low self-confidence. They don't feel much worth themselves. And they have anxiety issues and a lot of that. And a lot of that has come from COVID.
I think it's our fault. I think it's the way we're rearing them. I think it's too easy for them. They're being mollycoddled in school.
Yeah.
Like the things, like the conversations I have with my kids, like the word bully gets thrown around.
Yeah.
For nothing.
Yeah.
And like, I'm not saying, but I think bullying should be brought back a bit.
Yeah.
Like people need to get tougher.
Yeah.
Like every person that you know that ever does well, and every person that you know that becomes successful.
Yeah.
You know, none of them are trust fund kids.
No.
You know, it's people that have to actually do something.
Yeah.
So like our kids have, because we all grow
Bring
up
back bullying. That's the hashtag for this
but
one.
because we all have it, like none of us get anything unless we do something.
I was awful lucky. Me dad was absolutely a fucking fantastic role model. Me mum was. And I identified it. Me and my sister were so lucky. It was not through any fault of their own, but they were so busy that you somewhat fucking kind of reared yourself to some degree. Like my aunt, one.
But a lot of people back then were raised by their siblings more
well,
so than
I
their
was the
parents.
eldest one, right? And I vividly remember this because I had cousins who were the same age. There was two boys who were like a year older than me, a year younger than me. And then there was a 3-year gap with my sister, and they had a 3-year gap with their daughter. So it was kind of like two boys, one boy the same age, two girls the same age. And the aunt came out, and she was absolutely horrified that I was cooking on the gas cooker, and Ellen was kind of skittering around on the floor, and Mam was up with the kettle. And she gave out to Mam. She's like, Anne, you can't. He's what, 8 or 9? You can't have him cooking the supper. She's like, why? He's able to do it. Do you know what I mean?
But nowadays we have this culture of telling our kids and our young people and telling each other, you know, going to psychologists and going to therapy, you know, you're perfect the way you are.
No, you're not.
No, you are perfect the way. And nobody is perfect the way they are.
No.
You know, like everyone has to do better.
Yeah.
Like what's that fucking saying? Who was it? Viktor Frankl. You can have more than you've got because if you realize you can be more than you are. So like you have to try and better yourself.
Yeah.
Like it's so easy to turn into a loser when you just have to be able to listen to someone go. If more than 2 or 3 people say, "Hey, listen, you're being a fucking loser."
Yeah.
Now you don't have to be.
Yeah.
But you're a fucking loser.
Yeah.
You know, and you have to be able to listen and go, I can't believe you. That's it. I'm going to go fucking not talk to anyone and going into my bedroom. You have to be able to take a little bit of hardship.
Yeah.
Like, I can tell you, I had no reason in my life to be a loser, and I turned into an absolute loser. I went through a phase of being an absolute fucking dickhead.
Yeah.
And it was only when I realized I was a fucking dickhead.
It takes a bit of balls to admit that, though.
I'm sure everyone, we all go through a little bit of that. But like, I grew up in a fucking great family.
Yeah.
Always reasons for me to be working. Always reasons for me to have a job. And then I just got lazy, drinking too much, pricking around, feeling sorry for yourself, breaking up with a woman. Then you feel sorry for yourself. You do very little. You just a mess.
Yeah.
And then you just realize, oh, like I don't have to be one.
Yeah.
And you just work your way up. But it's hard. And like the thing you want the most is in the place you least want to go.
Yeah.
But no one's telling anyone that. Oh, you're grand the way you are. Go to therapy. Go do this.
But we had a girl, she's coming on and she's, what's the word for it? Is it a psychiatrist or that? But she's just leaving the, the license and all this. She's just like, not a fucking fear of it. I'm a psychiatrist. I've been licensed for years. But unfortunately, the license crowd have gone fucking insane themselves.
Yeah.
Because she reckons one of the foundational things is if you have someone who comes into you who is quite clearly fucking deluded, you're not meant to reinforce it. You know, if you have someone who comes in and says, I think I'm a cat, they need to be told, well, you might think that, but you're fucking not.
Yeah.
You're quite clearly fucking deluded.
That's kind of common sense.
Yeah. But what she's saying to me, she'll be coming up in the upcoming weeks, they're being told, well, you have to kind of admit that sometimes, there's a mental illness and are you as well off to fucking tell them the truth or kind of, medicate them and get them on a plane.
But I do always think we're all mentally ill.
Yeah, but who's mentally, what is mentally healthy?
That's it, mentally healthy. So, because, and like, I'm not saying airy-fairy, like meditating and yokes, but I think if we spent a little bit more time, everyone, just sitting on our own, doing a bit of thinking, inward thinking, and going, what is going wrong here in my life and what can I do right now to change it?
Yeah, but you see, this is the other thing. It's like what I said about that lad earlier on. And he quite clearly, I was giving him an excuse. I was saying, he's quite clearly mentally ill. Really and truly, being a shithouse. That was all, But your mentality depends on where you are and the situation that you're in.
Yeah.
So if you go back to when the Vikings was in it, and you were a bit of a shrinking violet, that wasn't going to fucking work for you.
That wasn't going to
work. So Johnny the psychopath had the hat on, and he was the chief because he was a fucking psychopath. Yeah. And everyone kind of went, Johnny gets it done, so he does.
Yeah.
And now I think we entered this period, like with young fellas especially, they're basically told, calm down. There's no need for jumping off the walls or that. Whereas if you had them in, a rougher time in history, you were like, yeah, that's the way.
But even in history, there was always that happy medium. Like they've done studies with chimps, and the big aggressive chimp, he'll get to the top. He'll be the alpha chimp very quick. But because he doesn't form relationships, and because he isn't timid sometimes, first chance he turns his back, they'll kill him. So even in chimp relationships, and they transfer into human relationships as you go down the family tree.
Yeah.
It's like you have to have that happy medium. You have to build relationships.
Let me put something to you. 3/4 of psychiatrists are women, and approximately 70% of women are on some sort of mental treatment.
Hey, I'll tell you now, right?
Don't circumnavigate that.
No,
one.
I'm not. I'm going to tell you exactly. This is from my personal experience, right? I've went to the doctor about 3 times in the last year.
Yeah.
Right? And every time I go to the doctor, I could be a GP now. I joke about being able to fly an airplane, right? Now, I still think I could fly an airplane if I had to, right?
If you had to land it.
If I had to land it, I'd land it.
How the rest of you do, I don't know, but David will be all right.
I am getting that down, right? You can trust me. I'll give it my best shot, right? But every time I went to the doctor, he'll tell me 3 things, right? He'll tell me, I'm sick because I'm overweight.
Yeah.
So he'll go, look, you're overweight. You need to lose some weight. That's what's wrong with you. You're going to have this, that, the other. You're sick, right? Or he'll tell me, you're depressed. And I'm there, I'm not depressed. I'm busy. How much sleep do you get? How many hours do you work? I was there, I am where I am. Forget about the hours. So do I go in and I lie to him and go, I do 8 hours a day. Yeah, I get grand sleep. Can you see what's wrong with me there?
Yeah.
And the first thing they'll do is they'll sign them, get them drugs into you. Get them drugs into you. Yeah. And especially with, I think women, jeez, I'm going to get in awful trouble here. So the problem, I think, with women now, right, is that they're been absolutely sold a lie.
Yeah.
Right? The lie of society now for women is the most important thing is your career.
Yeah.
The most important thing is your freedom and being able to express yourself. And it's such a lie.
Yeah.
Because it's never the most important thing. It's always family. Even the same with us.
Yeah.
And if you look at every successful woman, when they get to a certain age, they go, I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
They want to be at home with their kids. If my wife had her choice, she'd be at home with the kids. We just can't afford to do that.
Yeah.
And my wife is an independent woman, but she couldn't do it without me.
Yeah.
Because it takes a family. You need to, like, they do the most important job.
Yeah.
They hold the whole family together. They're better mothers. They're better at running the house. I'm a fucking waste of time. But like, they don't know what they want. They think they're supposed to be happy. They're looking at these programs. They're reading these magazines. They're supposed to look this way. They're supposed to act this way. It's shocking for them. I don't know how they fucking survive.
Social media has been absolutely horrendous.
And they have bad friend networks.
Yeah. Yeah.
They have.
No, they do.
They do.
Genuinely.
This is not the
You're
first time
preaching
I've
to the
heard
choir, David.
Their friends lie to them.
Yeah.
It's like if you're a girl and you are a woman out there now and you have friends, and every so often they'll turn around and say to you, "Jesus, you look fair sloppy in that. Do not wear that."
Yeah.
Or I think you're being a bit of a bitch.
Yeah.
Then you have a good friend.
Yeah.
How often do your friends? My friends often call me out, my brothers.
Yeah.
But women don't do that. They be falling out the whole time.
Yeah.
And I think it's terrible for them, because how can they get a good idea of what they're supposed to do or how they're supposed to act if you're in a world where it just tells you not any lies?
Yeah. It's like my missus has a girl who's a good friend and a lot younger than her. And I says it to her, you are a good friend, because she met up with a lad, he's a bit older than her. I know him all my life. Fantastic fucking lad. Does a bit of farming, goes to work every day. You see him with his younger siblings and his sister's sons and all that, and he's just family man through and fucking through. And all he's looking for is a partner in life. And he'll treat her like a fucking queen, do you know? But he would be on for having children and stuff like that, do you know? And the young one kind of goes, I know, but I'm a bit young for settling down. And she goes, no, you're not. No, you're fucking not. You're young, you're beautiful, you're going to look nice in your wedding dress. What do you want to do? You want to go out and get pissed drunk with all your fucking mates, and then one day you wake up and you're 35, and oh, by the way, none of the good lads are interested in you because now you're 35. And I thought, fuck yeah, fair play to you for saying that. She just told her the truth.
No,
Whereas you have this gang of ones, do you know, telling ones in their 40s and that, oh, you'll get a good guy.
Yeah.
Oh, you fucking won't.
But we do it with both. We do it with men and women. Like, we do it with men. It's totally acceptable now for a 35-year-old or a 30-year-old to be living at home with his mother.
Yeah.
And like, you can do that, and you can defer that stuff, and you can go travel the world, and you can go live the dream, and you can enjoy your youth.
Yeah.
But you will pay. It's just down the road.
Yeah.
You know, you're gonna pay the price. There's always a price to pay.
Was there a lot to be said years ago, and I know this is a really fucking controversial thing to say, matchmaking?
No.
Huh?
Let's do Verna.
I mean.
You mean like your mother and father picking your?
The more I think lately, I think, Jesus, do you know?
Could you imagine trying to matchmake for your chaps now?
I could.
I know you could.
I could.
I wouldn't like it. My mother could matchmake for me. I'd have a whole different life.
Yeah. Yeah, I could imagine doing it for them. I
think the whole relationship thing, though, is weird. It's like me and Vicky, Jesus, everything on paper, we should not get on.
Yeah.
Like, we are totally different.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Vicky is she's a full-on prod, right? She's fucking posh. She's real proper. She's real timid.
Did she go to Enoch Burke's school?
Yeah, she did. Yeah. And I'm a fucking muck savage.
Yeah.
Like a fucking idiot.
No, you're not an idiot.
Well, you know what I mean. Like, I don't know why she says it me.
Yeah, yeah.
But like, it works. But like,
opposites attract.
Opposites attract. It just works.
Does the toaster be in the cupboard?
No, she doesn't put the toaster in the cupboard.
She was on a slippery slope then.
But I do see that, like, I am always chronically aware of how fast time goes.
Yeah.
And I fucking love me kids. And if anyone is out there that doesn't have kids, or you have to have kids. It's like it's the first time a man really feels love. You know, it's unconditional love.
Yeah.
Like, the only love you'll ever get as a man, real love.
Yeah.
I love my wife, but the real love is from your chaps.
Yeah.
But like, when you're watching them grow, and you know how hard it is, and at the different stages, because I have 4, I have a teenager now, and and every day is a school day.
Yeah.
And I don't know how people do it without another half there.
Yeah.
I don't know how you do it.
The whole single parent thing.
Yeah.
It has to be really difficult.
When I see like some women that are out there with their kids on their own, I don't know how to do it. And I don't know how lads can just never see their kids.
No, it's wrong. So.
And I suppose
because you're missing out. You're just missing out.
That single mum thing, I think that leads to a loss of masculinity from boys as well. You know,
of course,
when there isn't the man in the house.
Yeah.
I think you actually see that in the kids. It kind of come adolescence.
But you know what I was looking at in your ladding, and I thought it was fucking class. There was, we'll say 4 or 5 plastering out there. What is he? 13, is he? 13, yeah. And there was 2 mixing up there, and he was on the quad and trailer bringing the mix over and back, and it was just like a little man. He was like, "You need more mix? You need a little mix? Don't turn around. I'll go back up here." And he was learning from both sides. So he'd like spend 5 minutes here listening to 2 older chaps. And I really like seeing that. I was like, that's good.
Isn't it interesting with kids? I just love hanging with them. I love watching them. But isn't it interesting how they just want to talk to you?
Yeah.
They just want you to hang with them or sit with them.
Yeah.
Or just, it's the really, really simple things that they remember.
Yeah.
That's a huge difference between me and Vicky. Vicky always wants to do stuff.
Yeah.
Vicky's always thinking, like, I could be after working all week, especially if I was on the lorry or if I was after doing a lot of driving. And they're after being at home all week with the chaps. I get it. They go, what did we do? Where do we go? Let's make memories. And I'm there, I just want to chill. Just want to do nothing. And the kids are happy just pottering around the yard of me. They're just as happy as going off and spending money.
Yeah. Well, you and me is real similar because Rose does do the same thing. And God bless her, it doesn't work for her half the time because, do you know, I'd be around here and she's brilliant. She'll organise everything. We'll go here, we'll go there. No problem at all. And I just can't get over the fact that I think a lot of the time they just want to tan around with you.
Yeah.
They just want to hop
That's
on
all.
the
They just
quad
want
and
the
go
simple
down
things.
to that field. And, yeah.
Because Vicky would have these ideas and we'd plan this trip. And I'd know before we go that there's going to be 2 people crying and we're all going to be fighting by the time we get. And now we're down the road.
Yeah.
Right? It's going to be a disaster. And I know it's going to be a disaster.
Yeah.
And I'll say nothing. No, I'll get ready. And she'll be so looking forward to it. And she's fighting with him before we even get into the car. And then it's a fucking disaster. There's one of them after shiting. There's one of them needs to go to the toilet 5 minutes down the road. We go for something to eat. I hate going into restaurants. I fucking hate it. And Vicky be there. It's grand. Everyone has kids. I mean, I don't want to be everyone listening to me when kids crying and shouting and that peg and stuff all over the floor.
Yeah.
I just want to do the simple things.
Yeah.
But I think if we had our way, though, here's the other side of it. If we had our way, we would do nothing.
Yeah, and there is a bit to it too that, and Herschel said, and it does make a bit of sense to me, is maybe the kid in years to come
will remember
it and say, well, they made an effort.
Yeah.
Do you know?
Yeah.
We went to Portugal one time. It was fucking hilarious because we didn't holiday much when we were kids. Do you know?
We didn't. We went Tramore day trips. That was it.
Yeah, but this was like our big holiday. And Mum had, when she was working in London, she worked with a Portuguese girl. Who lived in Lisbon. And, you know, they kept in touch over the years. And then Regina was her name. And she goes, Annie, you know, you need a holiday. And I live here in the capital of my country. I've got a huge apartment. Just come over. And Mum goes, that actually sounds, you don't have to book a hotel or anything. And she knows the place. She shows around and all this. And my poor father had never experienced heat in his life. He had never experienced heat. A hot day up in Sligo was when you're on the bog and it might be 22 or 23. This was maybe 30 and humid, you know? Yeah. So he spent the duration of the holiday eating in the kitchen and then going out to this balcony where there was this air blower, you know? Yeah. And then one day we have to go to Fatima, you know, the religious place or that. Oh God, it was hilarious. So it was because none of us wanted to be. After the first 2 days, all of us wanted to go home. But we had to spend the duration with this lady. And we kind of made a family deal.
What was the place like?
I'm sure it was beautiful. Do you know, in the evening, it was really nice because it was cool. So you'd go out or that. Like, I was probably the only one in the group who didn't mind heat.
If you had to live somewhere else now, a different country, where would you live?
Australia, in the outback.
Why?
Because my uncle has a fairly big place in Bayrock, 70-something thousand acres. And when I went out to him, I just loved it. That's man's country. It's you, a dirt bike, a chainsaw, and a rifle. And that's all there's to it. And you'll have a ute or that, like a Hilux.
Trying to fucking balance that on a dirt bike.
Oh, no, they can do it. They have all the straps and that. So, like the cattle, it was the dry season. So what they're doing is driving around cutting trees for them to eat. and then you have the watering holes, and you're there with the rifle, and you're watching these. They're a big, long fucking lizard.
Oh, fuck that shit.
Yeah, but if
lizards.
the cow gets stuck in the muck, they'll eat him alive. You know, so you shoot them because they'll come to the watering hole too, naturally enough, for the water. And there was this, like the local town, and the only thing that's in it is the pub and maybe 2 houses either side of the pub, so probably the publican's house and someone else who lives there, and that's the like community centre. And like one evening he goes to me, we'll go to the local. I went, all right. And an hour and a half later we got to the local, and it's all like Irish fellas who moved out years ago. Oh, I loved it. And they had this brilliant tradition that when you were so old that you couldn't do it anymore, you hung up your hat in the pub. So like you'd have your Australian cowboy hat.
Oh, that's cool.
And you hung up your hat.
Do the Australian ones have the little, you know, like Crocodile Dundee, they have the little string and
yeah. But the Crocodile Dundee one with the teeth in it and all that, if you went round with that, they'd be like, oh, he's a fucking tourist, so he is.
I'd love to live in Colorado or somewhere like that.
Just that's nice country.
Yeah.
So it is. That's all the mountains and the trees.
It has seasons.
Yeah.
I like the idea somewhere in seasons, and I know a lot of people think America's mad, but I just love the idea. They do have this freedom that's protected by the Constitution.
Yeah.
Like at the end of the day, they do have that, and you do have free speech.
Yeah, and I reckon that's why an awful lot of Irish people don't like them. They're ludicrously optimistic, which I like. Do you know? They think positive, do you know? And they think big.
Yeah.
And there's this other thing that they don't mind giving their opinion because they're not doing this kind of bullshit of trying to plumose this.
I think they like people doing better.
Yeah, they do, yeah.
They do,
there's no begrudgery in it, I don't think.
I do. I like that. I think there's an awful amount of that in Ireland.
There's too much of it.
Nobody wants you to do well.
No.
And you know what's so annoying about what I do for a living?
Huh?
The aspect of my business.
You would be surprised the amount of people.
The shop.
Yeah.
So I can see where my stuff goes.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's as clear as day that the people around you don't support you.
Yeah.
You know, it's crazy that most of my stuff goes out of the country. It's mental.
Yeah. No, that's true. Because you would be surprised the amount of people that, you done the podcast with Cuddy and that, geez, he must be a well-off man. It's like, well, he has a studio, so he does, and he's really nice. He bought me like a bottle of water and Lucozade and that, you know, that was nice, and he gave me a jumper. Oh, just a well-off man. I'm thinking to myself, why does that even fucking matter, like?
But I think most people, though, that look at anyone with it can look like, I remember thinking it yourself, if you think of someone that has a business and it looks big, and people think, social media wise, if you're on and loads of people look and you have a load of money.
Yeah.
They just think that you get loads of views, you obviously have a load of money. They don't know that is not the case. You know, that's why I find social media is so fucking funny sometimes. And you see people and they could have loads of views and they're putting up all this stuff. They're getting stuff for nothing. They're getting sent to these places. They're getting free suits. They're getting free dresses, free hotel rooms, free holidays. They're having fucking money.
Yeah.
So, you know, like I'm lucky that I didn't get into this when I was a young lad.
Yeah.
When I'd have totally took that. If someone had given me a car, or I was stupid enough. I got into this when I was a grown man and I had commitments and I have a full-time job.
Yeah.
And I was lucky enough that I could say, oh, well, that's not real.
Yeah.
Right? So this is fake.
Yeah.
And this is my life. And I've always kept my core. I always work.
Yeah.
I always work. And I built a business that is, it's out of my control now.
Yeah.
Right? So I've been trying to do it right, but it just keeps growing and it keeps getting bigger. And I'm buried in it.
Yeah.
I just have to keep going.
Yeah.
And like I'm not 100% sure yet. I think I'm doing the right thing.
Yeah. No, I reckon.
I think I'm doing the right thing by sticking to the no advertising thing.
Yeah.
And funding myself.
Yeah.
Because I do think everyone is getting a bit burnt out. And I see that the advertising money is going to dry up. I can see it now because I don't think there's any correlation between what videos people do and advertising is being spent to actual sales.
Yeah.
You have all these marketing people coming out of college. A company thinks, oh, I need someone that works in marketing. I'll hire them. They make a few videos. The videos are only to make their CV look good and try to be totally in the middle and make a nice video. But it's not making sales.
Yeah.
I see it from doing my own stuff. I could do a video I could do a video today that I know would get loads and loads of views.
Yeah.
But it's not going to make me any money.
Or it's not going to sell nothing.
No, and it's not going to sell nothing. And I can also, and this really bothers me about social media, I know the videos that I can make that can go really viral.
Yeah.
But they're not me.
Yeah.
They're me causing hate. They're me doing something that I don't want to do.
Yeah.
And that just tells you a lot. I know exactly how that algorithm works.
Yeah.
I know what they're trying to do. But as long as I can stick to my core that I've always had, the business model is there and I can stick to it and I can stay just tipping away the way I'm tipping away.
Well, you see, you could jump on and it'd be so easy for you. Every week, there's some kind of political controversy. And every week, you could start giving out about that controversy and that'd go fierce well for you. But you don't bother because you're just fucking busy. You're doing your own fucking thing. I don't care. That's where I've fallen into now at the point is, I set out my stall, and a lot of people can't. I'm talking to a lot of people who'd have the same viewpoints as me, and they just can't get it that the public didn't want it at the time. Do you know? So I was that election, and I was saying, if you don't stop this at the root, it's going to get worse. And then I have people contacting me going, oh, you know, the student housing in Sligo, 700 or 800 beds, that's going now for refugees. And I'm like, yeah. And, oh, well, you know, you said it. And I went, so? Nobody wanted to listen. So what am I meant to do? Spend the rest of my life going around going, ha, I told you. If you only listened. I don't bother at all. All I want to do here is do the podcast, grow a few vegetables, and then the likes of them young lads and that was there the weekend, show them how to do a few blocks, show them how to plaster. Like there was one lad there, do you know the red-haired chap? I really enjoyed him. He came up from down the country. He landed with his levels and his trowel, and I went, "Jeez," I says, "you have all the tools." I says, "You've done it before." He went, "Not fucking likely." And I started laughing. I said, "I knew when the level was shiny." I says, "You were in, you were in learning mode." And he just came out of his shell for the day. And he was great crack, so he was.
I loved. I tell you what, I love so much about the podcast. Like I just love it. Podcast is my baby, you know.
Yeah.
And I love being able to do a podcast where, because I wish I had it when I was younger.
Yeah.
You know, like to be able to get them young lads from Texas and that are working.
Oh, that was good.
And you're there thinking like, these lovely lads.
Yeah.
And they're getting a platform, and they're like, people are probably looking at them, fucking idiots driving tractors in Yorkshire, and like they're way better off than most young lads that are in college. Yeah. Well, it's just the drive that they have.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking about all these young lads that could be sitting in a tractor, working for some contractor, probably fucking getting shite wages, getting fucking road. Yeah. And even if 10 of them this year went, do you know what? I'm going to do what they done, and came home with 40 grand, and you're there, fuck.
Yeah.
That done something.
Yeah.
Or just being able to chat to people normally.
Yeah.
I remember sitting in the machine, because that's all I do. I was sitting in the machine, and I just be looking for something to listen to. And I'd love to have been able to listen to someone from my own country having a bit of crack. Not always talking about stuff that's fucking heavy, but a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
Love that. I love doing that.
I loved doing the one with yourself the first night. And I enjoyed bringing Gareth up to it, you know, because he's just such an interesting
Well, just as
a
a matter of interest, what did you enjoy about it?
Just the fact that there was no pressure, that it was someone who was just interested in what you had to say.
Because that's what, because I get loads of people asking me to be on the podcast.
Yeah.
And I do feel like an awful cunt saying no to all these people.
Yeah.
Because most of the time people just want to come on and sell something.
Yeah.
Right? And I don't want to sell something.
Yeah.
Unless it's something that I think, is that any good? Or would I use it myself? Or is it important? Is it going to help anyone?
Yeah.
Most of the time I just wanted to go, how did you get through this shit show that's life?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, or what, or if you think something, like I was fierce interested in getting you on, right? Because 90% of the people had told me that you're batshit crazy.
Yeah.
Fucking far right lunatic.
Yeah, yeah.
And the problem with TikTok and York is it only pushed the videos that portrayed you that way.
Yeah, that's right.
It does, and because it's not long form, it doesn't give you an idea of where you're come from, why you think that.
Yeah.
And I think when you give people a platform that they can explain their views, whether you agree with them or not.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because that's the way society is supposed to work.
That's right, yeah.
You know, I talk to you, you talk to me, I don't agree with you, you don't agree with me, but we figure out a way we go forward.
Yeah.
But like, no one does that anymore.
No.
And I just find it interesting. I love listening to why people.
Well, one of
are a certain way.
the things, and I couldn't get it over. It was very difficult to get it across to people. Is maybe I think that because I've experienced it. Maybe I've seen it in England and Holland and Germany.
Yeah.
And I know it's coming here, and I've gone. I've been there. I have seen Mrs. German woman terrified to stand at bus stop alone. Do you know? And you see that when you're over there. Like I'm not that big of a fella, but if you were in maybe Hamburg or Heidelberg or one of them places, and it's night time, and there's a lady walking in front of you, out of courtesy, you're kind of told, cross the road. Yeah. She doesn't need to be thinking, I'm on the brink of being thrown in a hedge here.
Yeah.
And if, like Irish women, I don't know, are they in that mentality yet? But that's common. That's how it works there.
How do you manage your own, I struggle with managing my own confirmation bias. So
yeah,
so when I'm, and like our brains are a weird place.
Yeah.
Like if you're having a tough time, like the year that I got fucking audited, and you're fucking, there's so much going on, and you're fucking you feel like you're getting rolled, and you're in bad form.
Yeah.
You're hiding it from your woman, and you're hiding it from Chaz because you have to push on. You're working all the time, and you notice your own brain because you're busy.
Yeah.
You're not thinking, I'm just focusing on negatives here.
Yeah.
And when you're just focusing on negatives and you think everything shit, your brain, because it's what it's hardwired to do, it's trying to confirm your belief system.
Yeah.
And if your belief system at that time is negative, you're just going to focus on them negatives.
Yeah. Well, Darren will tell you, I know Darren a long time. I can go, when was it last year? I went into a real fucking dark place, I did. And, I have no bother.
So but what did you do? Did you pull yourself out of that yourself? Or did someone go, hey, dickhead, you're bringing this shit on yourself?
I kind of end up just fucking having a real bad time. And then eventually you kind of go, oh, no, I need to get out of this.
Well, it was a real bad time. Oh, Jesus, I just wanked on the dog. I need to fucking calm myself aside.
No, like, it'd be...
That's not my normal behavior.
No, it'd be... usually there's a trigger that something bad had happened, and then you're thinking, why did I do that? Why the fuck did I do that? And then you start quizzing yourself on that and kind of going, why are you like that? You shouldn't be like that. And then it just gets into this vicious circle. And then,
from my perspective, what kind of resets you is closing the door, fucking away the phone, getting out into the field.
Yeah.
He'll go down to the fairy fort with a saw for a month.
Yeah.
He'll just go out there and make stuff, and
there's the full fairy walk out of a mountain to breakfast. So that's the truth. It's like,
he'll hire a digger.
A fairy walk sign
he'll hire a digger and just literally 80 degrees go, well, I'll make it or I won't. It's kind of... that's his reset, from my perspective.
I'm desperate for that. Like what he says, the phone. I've had more phones. People don't realise it. I'll go, I can't handle that. And that's it. And then, as he said, it's just... But, and you would have noticed that as well. Like, he would have came down to me, and I'm down there with a chainsaw or something, and, fair play to Darren.
I brought a chainsaw, and you said, fuck that, I want the handsaw.
Yeah. But he's kind of brave enough to deal with you, whereas there'd be a lot of people who'd known me well and go, I'm not fucking going down there.
Do you have many friends?
I have
good
five...
Very body friends.
5 or 6 good ones.
Very body ones.
Very well. Oh, yeah. 5 or 6 good ones. Yeah. But then again, funny thing, only one my own age.
Older or younger?
Older.
Much older?
Yeah. Couple decades in it. Like what? Oh, no. I won't. Because we had your birthday the other night, and I says, Roshi goes, what age are you? No, stop it. No, older, yeah.
Do all your friends smoke?
Most of them.
Do any of you smoke a pipe?
Yeah, I used to. Yeah, the curled one.
Yeah.
And then herself reckoned I looked like her. I went through a stage where I grew out a mustache and that, and she says, this is too much. It's, it's getting into... I've either married a cowboy, a fucking detective or something.
I love the smell of a pipe smoking.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Yeah.
It's lovely.
Yeah.
It reminds me of my old lad.
Yeah. Did he smoke it with the block that you cut with the knife?
Yeah, and he used to let us cut sometimes, and he'd rub it, and he'd put it into his. It was an old lad on the tin. I can't remember.
Oh, Navy cut.
Navy cut, yeah.
Yeah. A little sailor.
Yeah.
Hey there, sailor.
But it was the smell of it. I loved it. Yeah.
Did you ever teach how to pack it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Can you remember the rule?
No.
First, you do a 3-layer pack. First, you press like a child, then you press like a woman, and then you press like a man.
Go away.
Yeah, and then she'll smoke for a couple of hours.
I can't remember that now, but I can remember I remember sitting in the car watching him do it with one hand and being amazed.
Did you ever see a fella rolling with one hand?
Yeah, and he'd such big hands.
Yeah.
And then the cigarette lighter would pop out. It was just cool. When you think about that.
Dad had a brother, and he was 6'8".
Jesus.
And when we were, he was the most gentle man. Do you know? He was
Sounds
lovely
like a yehi.
man.
He didn't say googly goo did he?
No. He was the most, and he was a real. He's dead now. I can say the fucking story. He was a really good man, right?
Yeah.
But I think he was drawn the pharmacist. Do you know?
What's that?
It's like down here. Do you know what is it? If you have a couple acres,
Gay calendar.
that's Morris.
Oh.
So it is. It's February. Well, that's changing.
Doesn't look like a. No.
It gets progressively worse. No, we're going to skip February. So here, I got it. But the pharmacist, I think, is like, is it dole for a farmer? Is that what it is, basically?
That's my understanding.
Yeah,
If you have a small
couple
farm,
acres, you know.
it's kind of.
But Martin used to, this is another Martin, I had 2 Uncle Martins, but he used to be working for like every building contractor and the farmers in the evening. And he was building a house for himself as well on the quiet with basically what he was making. He was making a shit ton of money. And his address was my grandmother's house, do you know? And my poor grandmother was at home one day, and this lovely blonde lady came to the door and knocked on the door. And of course, she didn't know who the fuck it was. It was the dole inspector, right? And she opens the door to this lovely young lady, and she's probably thinking, oh, thank God, he must have got a girlfriend or something, you know? And she goes, I'm looking for Martin. Ha! He'll do well to get him. He's only out of one van when he's in the next one. She said.
Jesus Christ. She hung him out to dry.
Yeah, that's the truth. So I think in the latter end, they had to ring up and say, no, she's just raving. You know, it's old age. She does this sometimes. But where was I getting back to?
Hey, who would you love to have on the podcast?
Who would I love to have on the podcast? Oh, I was really looking forward to yourself.
Thanks, man. Flirting with me now.
Who would I love to have on it? Jesus, I was really looking forward to John Waters, and he came on it and done it.
It's an amazing way when you listen to him on your podcast. He seems like a very normal fella, but in the media, he sounds like a batshit crazy lunatic.
I think it's what they edit.
Yeah.
You know,
it's an amazing thing, the editing thing. We can all edit. You can edit this into me fucking saying the weirdest thing.
We're going to do that.
Walk away. You can't do any harm to me than I haven't done to myself.
That's a really good. Who would I love to
question?
Have
like an actual wish list. Like, I mean, it could
We've
be.
never done
one. No.
What we done is we have a real interest in kind of crowd of friends and associates that we've met, and we basically got. I think he'd do it. And we wrote down this list. And so far, so good, it's worked out that
what
kind of way.
does BigMickey.ie do?
He gave us a carpet.
Is that what furniture. They did? Do they do carpenter and furniture?
Yeah. He's a really nice fella. And he landed down...
Great name.
Yeah, isn't it? Savage Brandon.
It actually looks...
Like someone that you'd never get, but you'd love to have on.
Had you him on the podcast?
No, not yet. He's coming, though. So it is, because there has to be a backstory to...
Has to be.
You know.
It was definitely a night in the pub. I love the lamp.
Yeah, the old lantern. That was Granddad's for the lambing.
Every time I see one of them, I think of Banshees.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know why. I don't know.
That's not good, David.
I had a dream.
It's probably a dream. I was just going to say it's probably a dream.
I have to get back to what I asked you earlier on, though, about the psychiatrists. Because 3/4 of psychiatrists is women, and 70% of women are on some sort of mental health treatment. So is half the problem that the majority of the people who are meant to be telling you what's healthy are fucking lunatics?
That's a theory, isn't it? It's an interesting theory. I don't know where you go to get the stats on it, but it's fun to think about.
Yeah.
It's fun to think about. What theories do you think about the most? What theories keep you?
You're a first good person for questions.
Yeah, he's great. He's fallen into the trap. So yeah.
What trap? I've no trap.
You're so used to doing them now.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
So I talk too much?
Huh?
Oh,
No, not at all.
Man for questions. But...
I wish. What's it called? What theories do I think? I think about the whole what's it called Rothschild thing a lot. I really do. I think they're running the show.
I think about AI.
How many jobs it's going to take?
No. I heard something 2 weeks ago, and I had nightmares about it the more I thought about it. They asked this new AI system, not the way they're doing all these tests, and they asked it. I can't remember what they asked it. I heard this. They asked it, and its answer was, I am what happens when you try to carve God out of the wood of your hunger.
Fucking hell.
Bit deep for a robot.
And the more I thought of it, the more it fucking frightens me.
There's is it Gavon's group? Does he have a name on that, or is it just Gavon's group, or what is it?
Off-Grid Ireland or X-Basis era.
And they asked an AI what you should do as a human to guarantee survival.
Merge.
No.
What?
AI said, if you want to remain human, as human is, you need to break away. You need to be growing your own food.
I heard that.
It basically told
you. It gave a
you,
rundown of just being totally self-sufficient and not needing the government.
Yeah.
It basically even said the government's going to lead you down a path that
AI
never
is
come
telling
back.
you that, yeah. And you see, they reckon that it's going to be within 20 years, you will make the choice whether you want to become machine or not. They reckon it's that quickly.
I'd 100% take the Neuralink.
Would you fuck?
Absolutely.
Would you?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah,
Why?
I would.
Live forever in that.
I have... When I was younger, I always thought I was stupid.
You're not stupid.
No, but like, when I was younger, I thought I was fucking retarded.
Okay.
Right? Because that's what I was been told. You go to school, and I just couldn't grasp maths. And I wasn't grasping stuff. And it's the same old story. You'd rather be thought of as the class clown than take fucker.
Yeah.
So you play into it, and you end up getting left behind. And I left school thinking I was kind of stupid. Very lucky that I grew up in a family where there was always loads of work. You know, we could work in forestry, we could do our thing. But I always thought I was stupid. Always. And then, as I got older, thank God for the internet and podcasts and audiobooks. And I remember it was before Audible and stuff. I was listening to full books and stuff on YouTube. Remember when you could download on these apps, YouTube videos, and you could listen to stuff, and I was listening to like Alan Watts, and then Joe Rogan came out, and I was listening to all this, and I was there, oh, that's an interesting conversation. Don't really understand it, but he's after saying he has a book. Then you go get the book. You listen to the book, and you're there thinking, oh, I'm not stupid.
Yeah.
I'm just not interested in certain things.
Yeah.
And like it opens up the world to you.
Yeah.
You know, you literally, and then you understand what knowledge is supposed to be about. You understand what college was built for, what it was supposed to do, and how crooked it all is now. That's just this thing feeding itself.
Well, I always said that about English in secondary school. The vast majority of the teachers are women. And what the English teachers used to do was pick the books that they liked. So you take a 15 or a 16-year-old chap and you sit him down to read about Wuthering Heights. And if I can remember the gist of it rightly, it's a woman who likes an abusive ghost. So maybe all the young ones who were reading that could kind of go, oh yeah, no, I can see that. I can see the kind of, you know, he's a bit harsh and he's a ghost and he's a ghoul. Oh, it's a bit attractive for that. And I'm thinking, these people are fucking insane.
But we did grow up in a world where our parents trusted the school system to educate us.
That's right, yeah.
You know, so we were being sent to do a curriculum.
Yeah.
That when we should have been a different time. Like my mother and father weren't going to be there. Read.
Yeah.
You know, read. And we're not told we're not taught what we should be taught. You know, how is this going to help you run a business? How is this going to help you know more stuff? like history's so interesting. If
Yeah.
you want to know where you're going, figure out where you've been.
Yeah.
But do it in an interesting way. Like, I never listened to any history. Dan Carlin's hardcore history. You listen to it. Life changing. Anyone listens to it, you actually understand where we're ever coming from.
Yeah.
No one does it better than him.
Yeah. There's another thing as well. Like, we're going into the AI revolution now, and there's ferocious, I think they're called parameters or something, between the industrial revolution. So the only thing you're kind of lacking at the moment is the whole Luddite movement. Do you know?
What's a Luddite?
A Luddite was the fella who used to have the job, the machine replaced him, and he says, I'm going to break that machine. That's what I'm going to do. So their answer was, smash everything.
Yeah.
Do you know?
Hulk
Are we
smash.
on the hour? Oh, cool. David, what we do is we do the first bit and then we go to Patreon.
All right,
So
yeah,
we do.
well, I don't care what
So
you do.
we keep exclusive for the Patreon. Follow us to the Patreon.
Yeah, well, the conversation is getting interesting now as well, especially getting into AI and history and
It's not going to replace. It's not going to replace us, though.
No. But
It might replace the wood cutting.
Look.
Jeez, I don't know. Do you think?
It's like everything.
Repetitive.
Unless it's already like very automated.
Yeah.
You know, but it's not going to put a chain back on. It's not going to walk the
No.
road. It's not going to
That's
do
true.
all those.
And then the wind blowing stuff is not.
knocking.
Yeah, I thought I heard that myself.
That's the ghost.
Come in.
Follow us to Patreon and you'll see the ghost.
Still to come in part 2 of the show.
When is my superpower is I can eat 5 times the suggested serving amount.
Cool enough now. Do you know? After the first one, I think they were thinking that I just go, full Alex Jones on Hillary Clinton.
Yeah.
I'm going for a danger wank. Removing basketball hoops from parks in America seemed to reduce crime.
So I trust you and you can do it.
Yeah.
Like I got fucked over at the podcast room in Galway. You know, that was that buried me in fucking debt. I got in bother with suppliers. You know, you pay them and you're waiting for your stock and then they go out of business or you order stuff and it's not right. And it's okay to be a mess, you know, because everyone's just trying to figure it out.